you have to set a couple of things that are fixed. You have to set this nozzle to be 2.2, and you have to set this launch tube to be, what is that, 19. But this is where you get to decide how much water to put in your rocket and how much pressure to use. Now, what happens if I fill the whole rocket with water? If I fill it completely with water, will the rocket fly? No, because there's no room for the air. And we said yesterday, if I filled it completely with air, I don't get enough. I don't get enough thrust coming out the engine because I don't have enough mass. So you got to figure out: should I make it 1/3 water? Should I make it 2/3 water? You got to figure out how much water, and how are you going to figure that out? But I have an idea how you're going to figure out what's the right amount of water? Well, we're using the simulator. It's called trial and error. You're going to try different values of water, and then you're going to try a little bit more water, and you're going to see, does your rocket go higher? And if it doesn't go higher, then you're going to try a little bit, less water. And you're going to try to find the optimal amount of water to get the maximum amount of thrust out of your engine so that your rocket goes to the maximum height. So far, you've been basically, you have to design the fins and try to figure out the best shape and design for the fins that get you the maximum altitude. You got to decide how much ballast to put in so that the center of gravity always stays above the center pressure, and you have to decide how much water to put in to maximize the power of the engine. Now, as you start upping the water here, if you try and move this slider over and you up the water, you're going to see how these two things move. How the center of gravity and center of pressure move. Okay, as far as the pressure goes, you can pick a lower pressure, but to be very honest, you might as well pick the number we told you, which is on this sheet. It's 480 kilopascals, which is going to be the maximum we're going to allow you to fly your rocket at. Okay. So once you're all done putting fuel in, then you hit the go button and you move over to the launch pad. And now the only thing you really have to worry about is you have to set the length of the launch tube to this number 0.304, and you have to set the angle. And to be honest, we won't quite know what the angle of that launch is until Friday morning when we measure what the wind is outside. But for your purposes of building the simulator, just set it to 10 degrees. You'll get a really nice little arc, and you'll be able to see how your rocket flies. And then you hit the go button again, and now we're on to launch. You're almost here. And when you hit launch, you basically, the one thing you're going to do is hit this fire button. When you hit the fire button, you're going to see time go -4, -3, -2, -1, and it's going to launch the rocket. Everybody doing that? What? Yours fell over? Well, you got some parameter that doesn't work well. You'll figure that out. Now there are two reset buttons I got to tell you about. This reset button down here, that's right next to the fire button, keeps all the parameters exactly as they are and lets you refire it again and again and again. But this reset button up here will set all the parameters back to their original values. You don't really ever want to touch that one. You really want to use mostly this one. But once you fire your rocket, you can go back to any of these other buttons, and you can go back and change parameters, and then you can go back to launching again. So you can go back and forth in this thing. The only other two things I'm going to tell you before you each get working on your own is the pause and step button. When it starts firing, you can hit the pause button, and then if you hit the step button, you can step it a little bit of a time increment at a time, and you can actually see what's happening, because what you're having over here is where your rocket is actually at the moment. How much fuel you have left, what's the current range, and that's about it. So we're going to walk around, and we're going to help you guys get started on this, and you're going to try to design a rocket. You got to design three things: the fins, the amount of ballast in the nose, and the amount of water for fuel. All the other parameters are fixed. Now, did everybody bring the sheets with you that we handed out yesterday?
They gave them to me, I brought them. They have them now.
They have them now? Everybody have these sheets? Okay, this sheet, look up, look up, look up. This sheet shows you where all the parameters are on the rocket, on the picture, and when you finally get a rocket you like, on the back of this sheet, you record your best values. Now you might want to, in this value thing, you might want to make a couple of columns here. So maybe record a first set of values for a rocket that flies pretty well, and then if you can do better, you can record a second set of values. And this sheet gives you all of the parameters you must, the first thing you must do when you start is you must go through these fixed parameters, and you must set them exactly as we've given you on this sheet. Okay? Except for one change. Everybody watching? This parameter that says length of the fairing. Everybody see that under design? Where it says 7.62 on the sheet. Everybody got this sheet? I don't see anybody looking at this sheet. You need this sheet. You got to set all these values to what we told you here. Okay? Okay, that sheet. You see where it says under design, fixed design, it says body fairing. It says 7.62. Change the 7.62 to 10.16. Okay, everybody got that? And then you'll be correct. Okay, we're going to walk around and help you guys. You're all set. This is what should happen when your rocket flies well. It should sort of look like this. You get a nice curve like that. You should be able to look at the flight path. And then you look over here, and you see what the range was, and the maximum. And if you keep trying to make changes, increase this range. So you get the maximum range.
You're working on this route, and that's what's in that route.
So, you guys all need help?
You see ballast on here?
That's the body. Okay.
Now, whenever you hit the
Shape like that. Move these around the way they are. Move over down. Whatever you like. Work together. Okay, move over a little bit. Okay, you guys are all set for now? Okay. You get all done with your fence, then you put it on the nose. That's where you're So what you do is you pick some design for fins to start. Just to start, let's say, now go up here to nose. Now you decide how much weight you want to do. Let's see, you want to change this to plastic. That's correct. No. You got the right material. You want to go to the next one? Good. Now you go to fuel. Fuel. Have you ever seen you have to say change the nozzle diameter? Down there. Okay, and now you're going to decide how much water to put in. You have no water right now. So there goes the water. Center of pressure. So you might have to go back to design and either put more weight in the nose. Not the bottom.
That's how much I bought say, you know, maybe 5 or 6 centimeters.
Okay, now go. We don't want to go again.
So,
Okay.
let's start hitting reset. Okay, now we're ready to start. So we have design. Design is already selected. One body is already selected. So you can start with body. Body is okay. Now, you have to design. We have to okay. So here we go, body.
Oh, this is how it is.
Now you ready to launch?
Just give me a little check. You've done that. You've done that.
There you go.
And now you already know. Okay, so look at your settings where the
You're gonna keep track of
what's it say here?
some of these maximum height,
116
21 meters, which is about 60 feet or something. So now you're gonna go keep track of some of that. Keep track how much water you put in and check the following down. You go back and you can move it around as well as you are. If you lose the rod, you can always do fine.
Okay, so here's what you done.
That's what it did. Now you can specify the things for the body. You're going to go back to design fuel, make some changes, shape different to the size of the form for the balance, but it's better. Okay, you guys are all set? Good. Okay. How are you guys doing? You want something?
Halo, no, skip Halo. Okay. Do anything with Halo. these guys and see if they can do it. Work on the bins.
You should be using your water.
Bins, you're always looking over here to see what the settings are. Some of them are fixed. You've already done metric system and everything. And you got design, so you put some stuff in there and then put some fuel in there. And this should be here. This is a maintenance question.
That's right. Everything on
No, we haven't changed it to 10.1.
Let's go back here. Body. Go back
What you read, feel is a list. And then you write it right
Remember we said yesterday, you always have to hit enter when you type in a value. Type in a value twice. Body's good, you go to we told you you gotta look at these sheets. Sure. Everybody heads up for a second. Everybody stop for 1 second. You gotta look at this sheet. You gotta make sure that all these fixed values are what they say here. And then you gotta make sure these variable values, which you get to set, we have some maximum values you can use. And look at this sheet. It gives you the numbers you need. Okay. Now, what do we got? Which group?
right here. I can't get up.
Maybe you didn't hit go, did you? Oh, shoot. And then the pen's at 10 degrees.
Yeah, I can say go each time.
You have to go each time. Okay, well now you go, now you're ready. There you go. Now you're gonna hit fire. Right there, fire. Boom. Boom. So we did it 18 meters. About 50 feet, 55 feet.
All right, now that you got it working.
Okay. Okay. Are you guys fooling around or working?
Just keep going. You're getting really good.